Hey, my name is Max Jaeger. I'm from Germany. I'm a recording engineer and producer. I worked with Kanye West, Big Sean, Common, Ariana Grande. Today we're here to talk a little bit about microphone techniques. I want to show you guys how to record some electric guitars and also show you how to record some acoustic guitars. So first, let's have a look at how the microphones are actually placed. So we have a Sennheiser MD421, kind of like at 45-degree angle off axis to the speaker cone. Then we have a SM57, a little bit off center, but pretty directional to the center of the cone. And then a little bit further back, about 4 or 5 feet, we have a Royer 121, which is a ribbon microphone. Now, in terms of purpose of each of these microphones, I find that the MD421 gives me that very close, near, rich, and punchy sound that I would need if I really want to bring that guitar up front in a record. The 57 being very directional to the center of the cone will give us that sharp, cutting top end that when I start to distort the guitar, it will cut a little bit better in our records. And in terms of effects, I tend to use the Royer 121 since it picks up a lot of the room and it gives me a wider stereo image once I put some effects on it. When we record a clean sound, what we're trying to go for is a very nice fat sound that is detailed, close, and really sticks out in the record. So for that, I usually use the MD421. The MD421 gives me that nice bass and it gives me that attack of the string, while not being too aggressive and piercing. The 57 sometimes mix in there, but I usually turn it down. The Royer 121 is a cool tool if you want to add a little bit of warmth and a little bit of width, if you want to play with the effect. When I record distorted guitar, I usually go for a fat, round sound that cuts. So for that, I usually mix the SM57 and the MD421 kind of evenly, and then I use the Royer 121 to kind of give me that room. When I record guitars with a lot of effects, I usually tend to stick with the Royer 121. The Royer 121 is about 4 to 5 feet away from the amp and captures the entire ambience. Affected guitars usually sit a little bit further back in the mix and help to create kind of an ambient and depth to the track. When you are planning on recording acoustic guitars, the most important thing is why you are recording and what it is for. Whether it is a ballad, whether it is some singer-songwriter, happy song, whether it's something very energetic, whether it's supposed to live on a record. For today, I'm just gonna show you guys how to record it with one microphone. And the microphone I'm going to be using for that is the AKG C414 XLS. Now the cool thing about that microphone is it's a large diaphragm condenser It has multiple patterns. I can go from omni, which kind of like captures the entire room. I can go to a wide cardioid, which will give me a little bit wider image. And then I can go to cardioid, figure eight. But for today, I want to focus a little bit on the wide cardioid. The cool thing about a wide cardioid is when we look at the fretboard is that sometimes I want to really capture those fingers, because the finger sound sometimes really conveys that emotion that makes a record strong. So being in the wide cardioid pattern, we can capture a range from the guitarist's fingers to the 12th fret. And that's a pretty wide range. The cool thing about the 414 is that it captures from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So we get all the frequencies. And if we decide to have a little bit more warmer sound, something a little bit more emotional sounding with a little bit more fingers, something that even is like a little bit thinned out, we might as well look at the back where we have a filter section in which we can cut the low frequencies. Now, we can either cut up to 40, 80, or 160. In this configuration right now, I'm cutting up until 80, just because I think that up until 80 is like all the rumble, room noise, and the rest, if I decide to cut it, I really want to do that post-recording. What we need to consider is that when we play the guitar, we're not just working with like one sound source like the vocals, but we're working with multiple strings that are vibrating. And those strings are vibrating to a surface. And what I try to do is to measure about a hand width apart from that. And then I try to go as parallel as possible to the fretboard, so I capture the guitar sound as honest as possible. I would start out always with one microphone and then maybe go ahead and see if I want to add something to add perspective. Different songs have different sensibilities, so if I'm recording a sad song, I might want to project the image that the person that's playing the instrument is sitting right in front of me, which means I'll leave a lot of the ambient noises in there. I'll try to get those finger sounds enhanced. I try to really capture the guitarist playing the instrument. Whereas when I'm recording an EDM or pop track, I'm really just trying to get the sonics, and I'm trying to have the guitar sound as focused as possible, and maybe even take a lot of the low end and the high end out post I recorded it, so it sits in the track. So it really kind of depends on what the purpose of your recording is. I hope you guys can take something away from this and just experiment and find some new sounds.